Good morning, guys. Anjani Kumar here, dealing Power System 2 for third year electrical students. Alright, in a last session, we discussed about some problems on SAG calculations. Right? I think we completed three problems. So those are enough to find out the SAG. Right? So that's about the concept of SAG and tension. Right, that what we discussed means we discussed in this unit till now what is the definition of a sag, right? So after that, what is the definition of span, right? So what is the definition of ground clearance? So these are very important bits or important short answer questions, right? And what is the tension, right? So what is the factors that affecting the sag? Factors that affecting the sag, right? What are the factors that affect the sag calculations, right? So why we require to maintain sag, right? Right, after that, sag calculations, right? So there are two types to calculate the sag between two towers, right? So what are the types? Equal height of towers, and the second one is unequal height of towers, right? So we derived all the formulas regarding sag calculations for equal height of towers, unequal height of towers, right? After that, when wind and ice loading on a conductor, right? Definitely we should consider how much wind present in the system, present in the conductor, and how much wind force, how much ice loading around the conductor we should consider and calculate the sag value. So we did all these things, and we solved some problems also regarding wind and ice loading and sag calculations, right? So now we are going to discuss another concept called insulators, right? So another concept called insulator. In this session, so we just deal what are the things that we are going to discuss here, right? The remaining concept, that's a simple concept, right? See, if you follow my videos like sag, the insulators also similar. So we'll see. So what are the contents that we are going to deal means here the concept of insulator that we are going to discuss. So in that, so what is the definition of insulator? So what I am taking all these things means before you going to prepare for anything, so you just see the subject, you just see the syllabus, that what are the contents or what are the chapters that are in the syllabus. First you have to study that syllabus, then only you will go for a preparation. That's a very good suggestion from my side. Definitely you people should follow. Directly you won't go for preparation, you won't go for solving problems, you won't go for analytical purposes, right? So first you have to see, so what is the syllabus of that subject. First try to study that syllabus, so then only you'll go for anything, right? So whatever it may be a GATE, it may be IAS, or whatever it may be the syllabus subject. So you have to first proper preparation on a syllabus, then only you'll go for materials preparation, materials studying, all these things, right? So in this insulator we are going to discuss about definition of insulators. Next, what is the properties of insulator, alright? So after that we discussed about different types of insulator. So there are 4 types of insulator. We will discuss in detail, no doubt about that, right? There are 4 types. We'll discuss each and every type. Next, what is a string efficiency? Very, very important concept. Very, very important. So what is a string efficiency, right? What are the methods to improve string efficiency? Right? What are the methods to improve the string efficiency? And last, some problems on string efficiency. Right? So these are the contents. The next concept is insulator. So in this insulator, so these are the contents that we are going to discuss. So if you know these, what are the contents, definitely it will be very easy. So what the next chapter faculty is saying and all these things, you will easily find out. All right. So in this insulator, what we are going to discuss means the definition of insulator, the properties of insulator, different types of insulators, right? Which with need sketches also, no, right? So what is the string efficiency and what are the methods to improve the string efficiency, and after that some problems. So these are the things that we are going to discuss in my following e-lectures, right? First, we'll go for insulators, right? Right. So before going to insulator, you just know metals are divided into 3 categories. So what are that category? Conductors, right? Semiconductors, and the third one is insulators, right? So what is a conductor? So conductor is a material which allows electricity, right? So the conductor is a material which allows electricity. So what are the conductors materials? Aluminium, copper. So that's why the transmission line which we are using is a conductor. Conductor is nothing but a transmission line, na? So the transmission line built with a aluminium or a copper, whatever it may be, right? Nowadays we are using aluminium, right? So materials are classified into 3 types. So what are the conductors, semiconductors, and insulators? So what is a conductor? Conductor is nothing but a material which allows the electricity, right? So what is a semiconductor? The name itself indicates a semiconductor. Particular temperature only, particular system, particular condition only, it will allow the electricity. After that, it acts as an insulator, right? So at particular conditions only, it can allow the electricity. After that, we don't have any electricity. It acts as a insulators, right? At 0 degrees Kelvin, 0 degrees centigrade, or whatever it may be, right? So what are the different types of semiconductors, right? Phosphorus, silicon, gallium, all these terms are semiconductor materials, right? Now what is an insulator? Insulator means insulator doesn't allow the electricity. So what is a material? Insulator is a material which doesn't allow the electricity, right? So what are the examples? Wood, glass. So these are the insulating materials. Now we'll start the insulator concept in a transmission system. So basically materials are classified into 3 types. So the conductors, semiconductors, insulators. So the conductors means which allows the electricity. So what are the examples? Aluminium, copper. Now what is a semiconductor? Semiconductor means at particular condition, at particular temperature only, it will allows the electrons, it allows the current. After that it doesn't allows the electrons or current. So what are the examples? Phosphorus, silicon, gallium, arsenic, and all these things are semiconductor materials. Right, after that, insulator. Insulator is a material which doesn't allow the electricity. So what is the example of insulators? Wood and glass. Now we'll discuss about the insulator concept. We know the conductor should be built between the two transmission towers now. Alright, so we should take care that the current from the conductor that doesn't flow from the supporters to the earth. See, this is a two transmission tower now. Right, so we are building the transmission line here. If you this will can carry high current, right? So whatever the voltage that you are transferring, so that much current will be flows, right? If this transmission line directly connected to the transmission tower supporters, so what happened? The leakage current that will flows through the conductor, flows through the towers, and it will enter into the earth. So definitely it will be very dangerous, right? If the current directly connected the transmission line to the tower, so definitely some current, automatically current will flow through the tower to the earth. So when a person touches these towers, the person will get severe electrical shock. So we should take care that there must be a proper insulation between the conductor and the supporters. So that is the main idea why the insulator concepts came. See, one more time I am explaining. So always the conductor or a transmission line which can be built between the two transmission towers now, right? We should take care. That means the current from the conductor doesn't flow through the supporters to the earth, right? So if it flows, what happen? If any person touches the tower, definitely he will affect with severe electric shock. That means how much current flow through the transmission line, that much current will flow through that person. So definitely the person will get severe electric shock. So we need to avoid these type of things with the help of proper insulation between the conductor and the supporters, right? So that means if you provide some proper insulation, definitely there will be no current flowing from the conductor to the towers and to the earth, right? So that is the main property, that is the main definition of a insulators, right? So what is the definition of an insulator? Right, so insulator provide proper insulation between the conductor and the supporters, right? This is the conductor and this is the supporters. This is the conductor and this is supporters. It will provide proper insulation. So this is called insulator. So that means, or it doesn't allow or doesn't flow any leakage current directly from the tower to the earth. I hope it's clear. We'll see. I'll read the statements that what I written, right? So insulator provide a proper insulation between the conductor and the supporters, right? So definitely we should provide proper insulation. Otherwise the current will flow through the supporters and the earth. Definitely if a person touches, severe electric shock will be there. So definitely we should avoid these things. So that means we should provide proper insulation, and it doesn't allow leakage current. Whatever the current that coming out from the transmission line, it doesn't flow through the supporters and to the earth. So that is the main idea of a transmission, the main idea of a insulators. right? We'll see how each and every distribution system will see you will see the insulators. Why? Because if it is a transmission tower, right, transmission tower, this is a cross arm, no? You will place an insulator here. So from this your conductor is going to be connected. That means from the conductor and the supporters we don't have any proper, we should provide some insulation between the conductor and the supporters. That means the current from the conductor doesn't flow through the supporters itself, right? You will see directly, for suppose another cross arm is there, na? Another insulator will be provided and the transmission line will flow like this. So that means the current from here to here, one guard ring is going to be placed here. So that means the current is bypassed here. So another transmission line will carry the current like this. So these are insulators, right? So these are insulators, right? These are towers. I hope it's clear. You will see while in your street line, in a street, your street transmission system, you will see how the insulators are going to be placed and all these things, right? So what is the definition of insulator? Insulator doesn't any flow of leakage current from the conductor to the tower and to the earth, right? So we are providing insulation between the conductor and the supporters. That's it. That is the main property, the main issue of an insulator. That why we are placing the insulator means, right? So ikkadi nunchi current ikkadi povali because insulator gunda current podu, because insulator doesn't allow any current, right? So that means we should provide some guard ring to connect another conductor here. You will see in your state transmission system also one ring is going to be connected. So definitely there will be problems while connecting these errors that are well discussed here. Alright. So this is about insulators. So right. So what are the main properties of insulator that we discussed now? So if you are designing insulator, it should have some properties. So what are the properties? Right. The first property, it's very important question. Directly they will ask, explain the property of insulators, right? So first, so it should have high mechanical strength, right? So if the load on the transmission line is very high, so it should withstand, right? But suppose if the transmission line carrying 132 kV, so it should, whatever the insulator that we are placing, it should withstand that current. That means it should have high mechanical strength, right? So that should have high mechanical strength. That is a main important property. And the second property is it is having high electrical resistance. High electrical resistance. So if the resistance is high, so what about the current? It will reduces the current almost very zero. If I is resistant to V by R, na? If I is very high, the current is very less. That means zero current will flow. So almost infinity resistance. That means high resistance will be provided. Right? Right. After that, it should be non-porous. That means non-breakable. Right? Non-porous means non-breakable. Right? And it is having high dielectric strength. So the dielectric strength of insulator should be very high. The mechanical strength should be very high. High electrical resistance, non-porous. Right? There is no cracks. There is no cracks on the insulators. Right? So free from impurities. Right? So while you are designing insulator, so these are the properties you should consider. So what are the properties? It should have high mechanical strength. It should have high electrical resistance. Then only it will remit the current. It has non-porous. That means non-breakable. It high dielectric strength, and after that it doesn't have any cracks. it doesn't have any cracks, and free from impurities. So these are the main important properties of insulator while designing anything. So while designing the insulators, right? Now we'll discuss about what is the materials used in insulator while preparing manufacturing insulators. What are the materials? Basically, nowadays we are using the material called porcelain. So the porcelain material which can be used very nowadays. So nowadays we are using material called porcelain, right? So definitely the glass, nowadays we are getting a glass type insulators, right? And glass type materials and steatite అనే materials కూడా nowadays we are using. And so different materials ని club చేసి we are designing these type of insulators, right? So but mainly we are using porcelain. So the porcelain which is having high mechanical strength, right? If a temperature is going to be temperature increases, my porcelain materials, it doesn't melt. So that is one of the properties, right? High mechanical strength which is having, right? So these are the materials that are going to be used in an insulators, right? So what we discuss means what is the definition of insulators, right? So what are the properties of insulators, right? So what are the properties? High mechanical strength, high electrical resistivity, dielectric strength should be very high, non-porous material, free from impurities and free from the cracks, right? Temperature withstand, and all those materials, right? So what are the materials that we can use in insulator means there are actually nowadays we are using porcelain, right? Definitely we should go for a glass, steatite, and all these materials that are combined we are using also, but the main important design consideration is a porcelain concept. So porcelain we are using nowadays. Why? Because it doesn't melt with high temperatures, right? So that's why we are using porcelain, right? So now different types of insulators, right? I hope you are understanding. It is not it's very theoretical subject, right? So you just remind it like that. So there are types of insulators. So basically there are 4 types of insulators, right? So the one is pin type insulators. Second one is strain insulator. So you will see all these things. You are nowadays you are seeing all these insulators from your real life itself, right? In your distribution system, in your straight side, right? You are seeing, right? But you don't know so what type of materials, what type of insulator that we are using here, right? From after these videos definitely you will get an idea. So this is a pin type insulators, why we are using here, right? After that, string insulators, and the fourth one is a shackle insulator, right? So how many types of insulators? There are 4 types of insulators. The first one is the pin type insulators, right? Strain insulators, string insulator, shackle insulators, right? So we will discuss what is a pin type insulator, what is a diagram of a pin type insulator, at what voltages we are using these type of pin type insulators, right? What is a strain insulator, what is the structure of strain insulator, and how much voltage this can withstand, right? After that, string insulators, you will see all these things. Shockley, where we are using these type of Shockley insulators, right? The next session we will discuss about each and every insulators with neat diagram, and how at what voltages these type of insulators that can withstand, right? All these things that we discussed in the next class, right? So what we discussed till now in this session means, so what is a type, what is a insulator, right? So what is a insulator? What is the definition of insulator? Insulator, it provides insulation between the conductors and the supporters. It doesn't flow any current from the conductor to the supporters and to the earth, right? If it allows, definitely a severe electric shock will be there. That why you should place insulation between conductor and the supporters. So that is the main concept of insulators, right? What are the material, what are the properties? So insulator which is having high dielectric strength, high electrical resistance, high dielectric strength, high electrical resistance, non-porous, free from impurities, there is no cracks, high temperature withstand, and all these things, right? What is the materials that we nowadays we are using? Only porcelain material for use of this insulators, right? But we are using combination of materials like glass, steatite, but nowadays also using, but we don't have that much insulators in while frequent using. So better we are using porcelain materials, right, which is having high temperature coefficient. If a temperature increases, that doesn't melt it, right? That's why we are using. And different types of insulators. What are the different types of insulators? Pin type insulators, strain insulators, string insulators, Shockley insulators. Alright, so in the next class, all these insulator types with neat sketch and explanation. Right, so thank you very much.